This is why I tell people to stay in America and don't all move to Israel. Because God has his own time frame, and it's really up to us, our behavior, that activates God's forgiveness. So this idea that we could be good enough to be brought back into the land of Israel means that the idea that because we can't sacrifice, we can't receive forgiveness, I don't think it's one that someone could seriously make. However, I know that's not what the average Christian claims. The average Christian is talking about the destination of your soul. That's not something I debate. Just because the Torah is not clear. So if a Christian wants to say, you need Jesus in order to find your final resting place in heaven, or I don't know, like in some celestial place with him, they have the right to make that claim, just because the Torah doesn't mention it, right? All the Torah says is how to live in the land in peace and seeing your children grow old. The Torah has nothing to say, nothing literally to say about the afterlife. So it doesn't offend me when a Christian wants to make certain rules, and because of the rules they created, decide who to let in and who to exclude from the afterlife that appears in their book. That they have the right to make that. Jews cannot try to contradict it because the Torah doesn't speak on it. As a matter of fact, Jews have done the exact same thing from a different perspective. Now, I'm not saying that there's any consensus in the Jewish world on this idea, but I would say that the vast majority of Jews believe that the world to come is set aside only for Jewish people, right? No matter how bad you happen to be, there's a maximum of 12 months torment, i.e. some sort of purgatory, and every Jewish person is going to be dancing in heaven after those 12 months. Of course, there's Jewish sources that teach the opposite, but I'm just telling you what the average Jew believes. Who gave him the right to come up with that conclusion? Nobody. Nobody. So because they had the freedom to come up with their own, vision of an afterlife and heaven and who gets led into their heaven, who's to stop some Messianic Jews from coming up with their own rendition of heaven and hell, right? It doesn't step on any of the verses in the Torah, because the Torah just talks about how to please God on earth, not necessarily how to please God in heaven. There are little hints like you're getting written in a book. I don't know what that means. However, it doesn't mean that
like the manna from heaven, stuff like that.
Oh, well, that's not in the, well, I mean, manna from heaven is actual like food that they ate. I mean, not Jesus claiming to be the manna from heaven. So I'm not, I don't bash Christians for not wanting me in their heaven, right? Because it's their party. There's a lot of people who don't invite me to their party. I don't know who doesn't, who wouldn't want me in their party, but that's their party. Okay. It doesn't step on God's toes because God never said anything to contradict that idea, right? So Muslims can have their own heaven. Now the problem is when they start misrepresenting what the Torah says about practical issues. I don't think Messianics fall into that hole, while traditional Christians do, saying like, well, you shouldn't strive to even keep the ethical portions of the law, right? I don't know too many Christians who say it so directly. But yeah, no, there's a reason why most Christians are becoming Muslim. They want that structure, and their shepherds aren't leading them properly to a more practical form of Christianity, which would be Messianic Judaism.
Okay, and when you say Torah doesn't speak about the afterlife, is that specifically? Are you thinking specifically, Sheol and heaven? Or the new earth, or you including like the spiritual realm as well? Yeah. And for instance, when when I read when the Witch of Endor raises the spirit, the Elohim of the prophet, to me, when I read that, that indicates an afterlife. That indicates something's going on. Maybe not designation if it's, heaven, hell, or location.
Yeah, but it's not the Torah. I mean, that's not in the Torah.
What you mean?
It's not. I
mean, in the Tanakh. Okay, so you're only Torah observant.
No. Okay, so I'm not only Torah observant. However, I believe all these other stories are there to amplify the Torah, to bring people back to the Torah. I believe they're holy, but holy in Judaism just means that they're set apart. They're special to us. But that doesn't mean that every theological concept that appears in the book of Samuel is like it appeared to us in the Torah itself. Like we make a distinction, or at least we should make a distinction.